Hey, let's talk about the art of communication. It is so important. And if you follow me, you know how big I am in communication and articulation. You can say the wrong thing in the right way and be better off than saying the right thing in the wrong way. You know what I'm saying? So, the art of communication will not only boost your sales, but it's going to help you build and extend relationships, which is the most important part. So, in this video, I'm going to share with you some tips to make you a communication expert. So, let's go. The first thing that we want to cover here is active listening. So hopefully you're doing that right now. I'm making this video. I'm pouring some heart and soul into it. Hopefully you're listening, okay? But I can't see if you're listening actively. But I'm going to show you the art of active listening when you are in a presentation. Because as a salesperson, what you want to do is you want to close for a face-to-face. So when you're prospecting on the phone, your only mission is to get a face-to-face. Very few contracts are signed over the cell phone, namely none, okay? So when you get to a face-to-face appointment, your communication is going to help you get contracts signed. So let's talk about active listening real quick. When somebody is talking, we do this way too often. We are thinking about what we're going to say next. This is not only going to help you in your sales career, but it will probably help you with your friends and your significant other. You know what I'm saying? When somebody in your life that you're trying to build a relationship with, or you are in a relationship with, is speaking, empty your mind. Hear them. And to add to that, show them that you hear them by nodding. If you really believe in something that they're saying, or saying, oh, I get it. You're absolutely right. That's active listening, okay? Show them that you care. And if you don't do any active listening or nodding or agreeing, at the very least, please, please, please hear them. I know you know what I'm talking about, because too many people, when others are talking, are actually thinking about a rebuttal. You are not a lawyer. Okay? The art of negotiation is about balancing their needs and your needs. And in order to find out what their needs are, you have to listen. Okay, so that is a very crucial tip when it comes to the art of communication in sales. Okay, now that you know how to listen, why did I start with listening? Because it is the most important part of communication. Communication is about listening. We think it's about talking. It's not. When I say communication and articulation, it's like, oh, I got to learn how to be a public speaker. Yeah, cool. That'd be awesome. I got to learn how to speak on camera. Yeah, cool. No, what I'm talking about is in the art of the deal, or extending relationships, which is the art of the deal. We have 2 ears to listen. So listen first actively. Okay, it is the most important part about communication. Now, let's talk about articulating yourself as another tip. When you articulate yourself, so when you are talking, when it's your turn to talk, be clear and concise with your message. Too many of us talk in circles or use these big words. You haven't heard a big word yet from me, have you? Okay. It's not because I don't know any. It's because I am dumbing down my message. When you are talking to somebody, dumb down your message, clear and concisely. For real estate agents or any salespeople, right, that are using leads, want to get leads rather, and using advertising as lead magnets or lost leaders to get Let's do that part again, man. Okay. So any real estate agents that are watching right now, or any other salespeople that are out to get leads, when you make your advertising, dumb it down. There's actually programs on the internet where you can write things. Hey, I'll make my message so a third grader can understand. Apps will come out so you can put them in. I can't remember what they are, but they're out there. Google them. Dumb down your message. People are attracted to that. Okay. Also, when you're communicating with others, not only do you want to talk clear and concisely, not only do you want to get your message directly and dumb down your message, you also want to know your audience. That's why listening is very important. For those of you that follow me, you know I'm big on personality types. You know I've made a lot of money using the DISC personality test. I'm assessing the person's personality type, so I can speak to them to the language and the way they want to be communicated to. The language is obviously English, right? I can also speak other languages, but in this case, when I say language, I'm talking about, are they a D personality type? Are they an I or an S or a C? I'm going to adapt my communication style to the language that they prefer. Make sense? So be clear and concise. Now, nonverbal communication, as you see that when I'm talking to you, I'm using expressions sometimes. I'm using my hands. I'm animated. I'm energetic, right? Even without talking, you can see I'm on fire, okay? So when you're talking, that's nonverbal communication, right? Shadowboxing. So what I'm saying is, your message is going to be a lot clearer when you're actively talking, when you're passionate with your words. And the part about being passionate with your words are the actions that you take along with your words, right? So learning nonverbal communication is very important. For example, let's use the old school methodology of a simple handshake. I'm not saying anything, but that handshake is probably a very powerful, or one of the most powerful nonverbal communication techniques that you can use. When I'm on the table, even before I get an agreement signed, I get a handshake. Hey, Mr. Seller, you saw the marketing in my presentations, what we're going to do to get buyers through this house. Mr. Seller, we talked about the price. We agreed on the price. I think we have an awesome price to go into the market, Mr. Seller. Mrs. Seller, too. We talked about commission. I know you gave me a hard time, but we figured it out. Given all that, am I the person to do this job for you guys and get your house sold? I ain't saying a word. There you go. Got the handshake. Right? When you walk into a room and there's 5 people you know there, you say a wave or a dab. It's nonverbal communication. Guys, nonverbal communication, I'm putting it in a way that you understand. It is very important in learning the skill so you can articulate, so you can communicate, and you can lock down deals and build relationships. Let's go on to the next tip. I might not be good at a lot of things, but I'll tell you this. I practice and I'm trying to perfect emotional intelligence, empathy, understanding, active listening. Hearing people was the first tip, because when you actually hear somebody, you can understand their pain points and their struggle. So as a salesperson, I'm coming into this home, for example, that I'm trying to list for a reason. I'm coming there to achieve my goals and my dreams. And the first step of that is getting a contract signed so I can get more business, so I can get more accolades, so I can make more money. That's what entrepreneurs do, right? Okay, cool. But in the midst of all that, we are meeting people. And people are going through all of their own trials and tribulations. Be a human being, for crying out loud. My commission check, my personal reasons that are increasing my business for being there might change as I listen. Okay? So emotional intelligence is having empathy. It's also understanding feelings and emotions. And we don't have to go so deep. Let's take it back a bit. Let's go back to negotiation and sales acumen. If I understand what they want, I can articulate my message to what they want. That is emotional intelligence. So I'm listening. I'm seeing how they move. I find out who the decision maker is. It's actually Mrs. Seller that's a decision maker. Okay, I got you. I'm emotionally intelligent. She tells me 3 times in different ways during our 90-minute presentation or communication going back and forth. She tells me in 3 different ways how she raised children in this house and how this house is a part of her family. Okay. So if I'm just treating her house like an object, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to take away all that. We're going to do this. We're going to stage it like this. Okay, don't worry. We're going to get the most price. We're going to do that. Hey, man, We're going to build net worth. I'm going to show you exactly how to get the most money out of your house. I'm going to show you how to build net worth. I'm not listening to her. I'm not emotional intelligence. You know what I need to say? I say, Mrs. Seller, I hear you. I understand. I actually have a family too, and I can understand how important it was. Let's add to that. Let's say it was very difficult for this couple to have children, and they finally had 2 after years and years of trying. This stuff actually happens when you go to enough appointments. That is finally having children and raising them in this house is very important to her. So I need to tell her something different than maximizing this and that, which she also wants to hear, because don't get me wrong, Mrs. Seller's a gangster. She's a business person. She wants to make money in her investment, which is her house. But I might say things like, you know what, Mrs. Seller, Mr. Seller, I think the way your house is in the neighborhood that it is, I think it's a really good chance that we're going to find a small family or someone that wants to start a small family just like you did. And it's probably time for them to enjoy this house and all the blessings that you have gotten. What? I'm not talking about commission. I'm not talking about price, y'all. That's emotional intelligence. I'm listening to her. I'm being empathetic. I'm not even trying to close a deal. I'm just being emotionally intelligent, which helps me close a deal. So when you're communicating, be emotionally intelligent. Okay? The next tip, trust and integrity in the words that you speak. The most powerful things that you have when it comes to reaching success is your words. You heard me say it time and time again. Step 1 is the words that you tell yourself. What is your self-talk? You can control your self-talk. That's the most important thing. Control the words that you're putting in your own ecosystem. Say nice things to yourself. On the other end, the second most important things when it comes to word is the word that you're telling others. Keep it. If you say you're going to do something, if you are making promises, have integrity behind your word. There's too many salespeople that go out there and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do that, and do none of it. You're a jerk. I'm telling you now, you're a jerk. Don't do that, because not only are you making your reputation bad, you are making the industry reputation bad. If you can't do something, don't do it. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I have 16 buyers that want this house. No, you don't. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm going to stage your home with the top furniture. And you didn't. I'm going to do open house every weekend. And you're not picking up their calls because you're not doing the open houses. Whatever. When you understand that building a big sales business is about keeping relationships, because it was so hard for you to go get into the stranger's house. Let's say you got this person door knocking or cold calling. We're so active about this one deal, you should be thinking about the 10, 15, 20 deals you can get from this one listing. And the thing that's going to get you there is a relationship. What is one of the most important ingredients in a relationship? Trust. How do you build trust? You keep your word. You have integrity. I say this all the time. Your real estate license is your key to self-development. You will know what you're made of because nobody's watching you. So in my life, when I got my real estate license close to 20 years ago, damn, time flies. Throughout that time, I became a way better person. Because in order for me to reach my financial success, my business success, I had to become a better person through the books and the mentorship that I got and all that kind of stuff, through the experiences. Okay? Different story for a different day, but having integrity and just simply keeping your word to others is huge when it comes to sales. You know what's even bigger? Keeping your word to yourself. Having integrity of your word to yourself. If I say I'm going to prospect tomorrow for 2 hours, there is no more negotiating that contract, y'all. I signed the contract with myself. I got that mentality from watching the late, great Kobe Bryant. He said that in an interview, and it hit me right here. Do not negotiate with yourself. If you say you're going to do something, keep your own word. Guys, that is self-love. We talk about all these things about self-love. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to do this. Do it. It's great. But the first step in loving yourself is honoring yourself and keeping the word that you created for the betterment of your self-being. If you're not doing the things that you did for yourself, you cannot do it for others. You don't have integrity to yourself, you can't have integrity for others. Just went on a rant. Let's get back to the communication, okay? Now, you will have objections. So that's the next tip. How to handle objections. No matter how good your communication is, no matter how great your presentation is, you can use all these tips. You're still not going to hit a home run when it comes to contract signing. As you get better at this stuff, yes, you will sign more contracts without objections, but that'll still be very minimal. For those of you that want to be good at real estate sales or any type of sales, you have to learn the art of handling objections. I have 7 steps in my course called Deals on Autopilot in the sales mastery section, where it shows us the art of handling any objection. If you cruise through my YouTube or my socials, you can probably get this somewhere for free because I give you free value. For those of you who can't afford working with me in my courses, I'm cool with that because there was a time in my life I couldn't afford shit. Okay, so I'm giving you free value. Use it. There are 7 steps to handle every objections, okay? But handling objection is a technique in your communication that you need to learn how to adapt and work, because people will have a rebuttal. Hey, Rick, I love you. You're great. You're cool. Your commissions are too high. Oh, okay, I'll just drop them. No, you won't, because you're listening to how you can handle objections. Okay. Oh, the price that you're mentioning for my home is too low, Rick. Oh, actually it isn't. I'm not going to say it like that. I'm doing this for entertainment. One of the other things about communication is not being combative. That's emotional intelligence. A lot of times, even all these coaches and gurus, they tell us to say, hey, when somebody says, hey, I want a discount on the commission, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, like your presentation, I want a discount on your commission. We are sometimes taught to say, I've read the script, saying, I'm not a discount broker. I'm not a discount broker. How dare you ask me? I am Rick Dhillon. I've sold this many houses. Didn't you see my card? You see my watch? I am Mr. Realtor. I don't give discounts. Guys, that's not the way you handle it. You don't rebuttal like this. You can understand the way you want to handle that and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I get it. You like my presentation. I understand that. You think that the commissions are too high. You know what? I can get that because this is your house. And you know what? This is not the first time I've heard this. See, I'm handling the objection. I'm making them understand that it's okay to ask me those questions. And then I'm going to say something like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, if we can come to a commission, or I can tell you the value of the commission on why it's like that and how it's going to net you more money, if we can come to an agreement of what this commission is and I can kind of break it down for you, are we okay to move forward? Okay, there's so many steps in that I'll isolate, but that's kind of a way better way than saying, hey, I'm not a discount broker. You can get those 1% agents, but I'm a 5% agent. Guys, we think too much of ourselves, right? There's a way in doing this, right? And it's about communication and articulation. That was a little example. All right, I'm going to end it off with the most important, well, I can't say it's the most important one, but it is very important because if you follow me enough, I always love to say the money is in the maybes, right? So this tip is called follow-up. When you do enough phone calls, when you do enough presentations, doesn't matter how good you get. What I'm teaching you right now is how to get good. But even when you get good, you got to go to great. So from good to great is in the follow-up because most people will not make decisions right away. You're not going to chain them to the house. You chain yourself to the house. Okay? You're going to have a really good follow-up system. Now, when you get to the presentation, there's techniques on how to get that signature on the contract. So we're going to get it signed that day. But the follow-up system is going to get you in that house. Because you might have door knocked that house and, they said maybe to you, and then you had to follow up for 6 months using our nurturing system and our CRM that we have, or anyone that you use. Deals on Autopilot, we have our own CRM. RevShare University, we have our own CRM called 5 Squared. But you can use any CRM and any technique and in the follow-up. But the point is, the money is in the maybes. Most people in this business will say maybe to you. Okay? So when we're doing our prospecting, we meet with the yeses. That's far and few in between. Not going to lie to y'all. We forget about the no's, but the money, my friends, are in the maybes. And how you get the maybes to yeses is a beautiful word, 2 words, called follow-up. Follow up, follow up, follow up. We have all these techniques lined up for you. If you watch enough of my videos, you probably see some content on how we follow up. Articulation and communication is not only going to get you more deals, but it's going to help you build more relationships with the people you do business with who are going to want to refer you, which 10x's more deals. Thank you for the time. We'll see you on the next one.